So I want to start with a simple question. Is big government a bad thing? Should be an easy question to answer, I would hope, for most of you. As you see here, this Forbes article, 4 reasons why big government is bad government. Well, this has taken on a whole new meaning. The article you're looking at is nearly 10 years old. Well, a lot has changed since then, hasn't it? You saw the title that we kicked this off with, Government Red Alert, Executive Agency Army, is soon to outnumber the U.S. Marines. You think I'm overextending that fact? Well, I'm going to show you specifics and why it's getting worse now. Many of you probably remember when I once presented to you the militarization of the U.S. Executive Agency's report. Well, again, it's come into new focus, and that is specifically what we're going to cover today. You won't believe the facts that we're about to present. Now, before I do, my name is Justus Knight. Can't thank you enough for being here today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Pound on that subscribe button as quick as you can. Make sure you help me to share the video. I can't tell you how urgent that is. That isn't just some blanket request. It is, in actuality, the only way these videos get viewed. And why? I am not a proponent of big government. Never have been, never will be. And the government we look at now is one big party anyway. But not a party for you and I, and that's what this report today will cover. So again, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And in just a few moments, I'm going to extend this broadcast on, like I always do, to restrictedrepublic.com states. So we want to give you that special offer so you continue to get the news that matters, unfiltered, uncensored. But now, let's get back on with this broadcast. So this report, militarization of the U.S. executive agencies, non-military purchase of guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment, 2015 through 2019 report, and then we're going to pull it into today. I'm going to drop myself out of the way so you get full screen view of what's happening here. 27 traditional law enforcement agencies spent $800 million on guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment during fiscal year 2015 and 2019. Those included the FBI, Customs and Border Patrol, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, so on and so forth. But there's a new mix in there now, growing every day. 76 administrative agencies spent $110 million on guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment. Those included, and we're going to focus today primarily on the first one, the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, Veterans Affairs, Executive Office of the President, and again, moving forward in the list. Now, why is this relevant? Well, you've heard the push of defund the police. Well, that doesn't make sense when you put that into perspective of what the U.S. government is spending on itself. But they noticed a problem, in our opinion. IRS criminal investigation, special agent staffing, and attrition. You noticed a drop-off from 1995 forward to what was projected in 2018 at the time. But not shortly thereafter, the Biden administration proposed doubling IRS workforce as part of a plan to snag, tax cheats. And here's the report that it came out of the American Families Plan Tax Compliance Agenda. And within that report, under the president's compliance proposals, was this. And simply, the growth of the IRS from 2,642 members to, in 2031, 81,743 members. Obviously, this was cause for grave concern. Why the growth? Simply to get back lost tax revenue? Potentially. We'll see how it leads in, but of course we always look this through a much different set of glasses. So let's focus on the IRS, and in that report that I just showed you, the militarization of U.S. agencies, blows an accounting of type of weapons that the IRS special agents deploy, handguns and ammunition. Then you get into shotguns and the Smith & Wesson M&P 15. Along with what you see at the bottom of your screen. Seems heavy firepower for, executive agency agents, but nonetheless it continues on because here's what guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment the IRS purchased just between 2006 and 2019. You can see the list grows and also does cause for concern with anyone who doesn't like big government. And once they have the weapons, obviously, they are used in a multiple variety of fashions. However, remember this report, Chris Christie coming out and saying FBI's gun-toting raid on Roger Stone's home was overkill. And that is the concern. Is this all overkill? American Thinker put out an amazing article, Biden's militarized executive agencies. And again, I wanted to pull it larger than just one administration. This has been ongoing for a long time. We try to take both sides when we can. And in this case, this is again the uniparty that's grown this year after year. There is clearly no legal authority, the American Thinker went on to state, requirement or reason for general administration agencies like the Internal Revenue Service, whose power is limited to implementing laws, to have weapons. Biden plans on expanding the IRS by 87,000 workers. I just showed you that. And of course, the facetious comment of, will their audit training include marksmanship? If you go into the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and this report published in March of 2021, you remember the DVEs, the domestic violent extremist, and what would be considered by, well, precog laws, if you want to put it simply. They'd be finding out, well, via objectives like this, if you remember, if you see something, say something. Precog. Enforcement. And now we're seeing some of the equipment that is put behind these maneuvers. Now, the Biden plan to end our gun violence epidemic, but yet the government's gun growth epidemic is growing daily. And so those would appear to be opposing forces in more ways than one. If you watch what Joseph R. Biden has done in his executive orders, and we'll just start to follow through a little bit, since he, well, you term it what you will. But nonetheless, you could see the use of executive power. I'll stop there because I don't want to bore you, but it does continue to go on. Political power grows out of the barrel of a gun. Mao Zedong. Remember that statement? You should. History tends to repeat itself, and again, is what is giving many of us cause for concern. That government is growing at an ever-increasing number, and when it begins to militarize itself, then normally there should be people concerned and people talking in the Senate and the House of Representatives, but nah, none of that happens nowadays, with very limited exceptions. The spending is across the board, from the FAA through the Agricultural Research Service. The Smithsonian Institute, thankfully, they spent $339,000. It's unbelievable when you read it. The Office of the Inspector General for Tax Administration, $1,676,000. The IRS at the time, $8,697,000. Food and Nutrition Services, $124,915 on what? General and administrative agencies' purchase of guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment. Now, does that make sense to any of you? It makes no sense to me whatsoever, but the Biden administration has taken this all even now a step further. They're creating new departments. You've heard the most recent, the disinformation, whatever you want to call it, Ministry of Truth is what we call it, of course. And so those within these administrative agencies that would be in charge, well, I'll give you a little highlight into what they're concerned needs to be enforced against.
Lack of understanding of the issues and just run with the headlines.
Thank you for that question. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Critical race theory has become one of those hot button issues that the Republicans and other, disinformers who are engaged in disinformation for profit, frankly. There are plenty of, media outlets that are making money off of this too.
Nina Jakowicz. Continue to find more clips now, don't we? They're calling, again, critical race theory. Something that involves misinformation and something that, well, we should be working on in the disinformation of truth. We may not know quite yet, but we can assume, because those being given power or positions in front of the camera, well, they range greatly right now, don't they? Karine Jean-Pierre, stolen emails, stolen drone, stolen election. Welcome to the world of unprecedented Trump. Brian Kemp stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams. You see, the messaging continues on. It's nothing we have to go searching very deep for. It is within our daily headlines. In an exclusive interview with CNN's Pamela Brown, FDA Chief Dr. Robert Califf explains why he says the leading cause of death in the U.S. is misinformation. Hence, we raised a flag of great concern, especially when you put all this information together. And what it results in will be an executive agency army bigger than the U.S. Marines. 186,000 U.S. Marines to 200,000 plus federal employee and contractors with firearm authority. That is the biggest graphic I can show you today, and that was then. Way back in 2018, I believe this report was published. That source, I apologize, was from 2008. The report published in 2014. Now, as an average American just like you, I know the basic principles of this country as you do, and this is not what it was intended for. The original question, is big government a bad thing? We've seen that with their spending, it most certainly is. We've seen with our loss of freedoms and rights, it most definitely is. But this puts a whole different look and spin on that entire conversation. In the past, when other nations have done this, we, the United States of America, would have been up in arms, but now the only one up in arms is the executive agencies of the United States of America. I love you all. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. I look forward to your comments. Again, please help me share the video and this message everywhere. If you appreciate what I'm doing here, your means of supporting me are at restrictedrepublic.com. I don't ask and I don't have sponsors. You know, I try to keep everything limited here to facts and reference facts, which you can always find at Justus A. Knight or restrictedrepublic.com. These messages matter. They make a difference, and they're always fact-based. I hope you appreciate that. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.